there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sherifat and I live in Nova Scotia in Canada. On my YouTube channel, I just share my experiences about life here in Canada. I do a bit of immigration as well because I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. As you can see, I have the girls. Drum roll. This is my friend Fumi Ayebiwo. She's our guest today. Fumi is my first guest on my YouTube channel, so this is very, very important.
Special.
You know, she is very special. So let me give you like a backstory as to how Fumi and I became friends.
Rewind.
Yes, rewind. Bam, 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 bam. So Fumi and I went to the same secondary school, the same high school back in Nigeria. Federal Government Girls College. Oh yeah, for Unit 30,
Fego Villa.
So yeah, we went in secondary school in the same sets.
Yep.
And thank God for social media, we kept in touch, you know, over the years. And then I came to Canada in 2016. She came in 2018. So before then, we were already friends on YouTube, on Facebook.
I don't think there was so much of Instagram at that time.
No, I don't think so. It was more of Facebook. So we were friends, you know, for all those number of years. And then she came to my province. So she's the only person I know that went to the same secondary school, And
I can tell you a little bit about Sherry as well.
Story.
Sherry was always in front. She knows too much.
Big story.
She's very brilliant. I'm not even joking.
See who is talking.
I'm not even joking.
Well, you were not
yeah, you're in Blue House. I was in Tinubu.
Yeah,
but she was very well. She's even still very brilliant. If you know the kind of exams that she had to write.
I don't know book anymore.
She does. Don't mind her.
Anyways, please welcome my darling friend Fumi. Thank you so much for doing this with me. I really appreciate it. It's a working day. She took time, you know, for this session. So you guys should value it, you know.
Anything for a celebrity. Who am I? Sherry is one of people that will ask me that. Oh yeah, for me job, and I'll ask, okay, how high? It's an honor to be here. Honestly.
Thank you so much, darling. Thank you. So before I start with my question, so today I brought Fumi here to talk about financial information because I realized that many newcomers are not very abreast with how things are done here in Canada. Back home in Nigeria, things are different. Like here is a credit system. So many people, even me, I find that I don't even know some things that I should know. So I thought, oh, who should I call? She was number one on the list. On WhatsApp, she sends like updates, you know, all those marketing. I'm like, one day you could see, okay, more way, you know. So that's why I thought she was the number one person that came to mind when I thought about this. I'm like, it's a new year. Let's talk about these things and see how people can gain from it and begin to live a better life. So that is why we are here today. Before I start with my questions, I'll let her introduce herself officially and tell us a bit about herself.
A bit about myself?
Yeah.
Okay. As Sherry has rightly said, my name is Fumi. I moved to Canada in 2018. I'm in Nova Scotia. We're in the same province. You must have seen lots of beautiful things that Sherry shares. Our province is actually very beautiful. It is very, very friendly.
People don't know.
Honestly, very family friendly.
Yeah.
Nice to raise kids.
Yeah.
There's actually a very admirable Nigerian community. I find that people, we bring ourselves together and we thrive together. Yeah. That's one very good thing about my province. Yeah. What do I do? I've always done banking all my life. I started my banking career in 2008, and that's still what I'm doing now. I've tried to veer off to other kind of fields, but it's not just working. I think I'm just made to count money.
Meanwhile, try to cut it. I call her Remy Olowo.
I'm borrowing money from her.
That means my friend that has money. She's rich. I don't even just mean physical wealth. Like, she's very intelligent, very smart, very brilliant. So when I say Remy Low, it's not only like, even though money is there, she's cash madam. But I see beyond that. I call her Low because she's very intelligent, very smart.
I claim it.
As like she's here, you know. Yeah, continue.
So like I said, I started my banking career back in 2008 in the legacy bank PHB at the time. Okay. The bank that would have cars drive on water. If you remember that.
Yeah, I remember that advert. Yeah, I remember it. I remember it.
And then when I came here, it was just easy for me to transfer my skills down here. And I started here in 2018 as a financial advisor, and I've progressed. So I'm a financial advisor, and what do I do as a financial advisor? I help you or advise you on how to invest. I help you get credit and loans. And today we'll be talking about credit cards. So yes, I'll wait for Sherry to hit me with those very hard questions.
Let's dive in.
And we'll see how we can get to the answers.
For me, there are a lot of questions about finances, financial information. But number one thing that comes to mind, I'll start with is credit card. What's a credit card? What is the significance? Why should I get credit card? Should I get it or not? You know, things like that.
All right. So a credit card is a card that borrows you money. Like, what is credit? Credit is like you are borrowing. So credit card is a credit that is a card that lends you money, a limited amount, for a period, and you must of course pay whatever you lend at a particular day. So there's a payment date, there's a statement date that you must pay that money by. How do you get a credit card? So because this is an immigration kind of thing, I'll be touching on newcomers to Canada. So for newcomers to Canada, as long as you have reached the majority age, which is 18, in Nova Scotia it's actually 19. In Nova Scotia you can't get a credit card before 19. In provinces like Ontario, you can't actually get a credit card before you're 19. When you're 18, you can get a credit card. So usually when you approach any of the banks to open an account, is one of the services that should be offered to you. So it's like you come into Canada and you're given a credit card. Some banks give you a credit limit of $2,500. Some banks give you $1,000. I'm not sure there's any bank that will give you more than $2,500 for starters. I may be wrong. I've worked with only 2 banks in Canada, so I'm not sure but I know $2,500 would be the highest I've heard for a newcomer.
Me too.
It's always, when I came into Canada, I'll use myself, I'll bring it back home. When I came to Canada, it was actually Sherry that took me to the bank to open my account, I think.
Really?
Yeah. So when we got in and they said, and they asked me, do I want a credit card? I look at my husband like, credit card. I remember when I was in Sterling Bank back home, we had a credit card, but it wasn't readily accessible by everyone. It was just like a limited few.
Had one in Nigeria.
Yeah, it was limited. So I had one. It was for 20K, I think.
Yeah, I said that you are already when I say that, just be taking it like that.
So when I thought about it, what I thought was, how would I repay? I was like, no, the lady was very gracious enough to like throw more light into, oh no, it's this, it's that. So you will usually be offered when you go and open your account. Please do not say no. We'll talk about the importance as time, but do not say no. It's very important for you to have a credit card. This is a credit-based society, and it is not free money, my people. It is not free. So they give you a credit card for $2,500. It doesn't mean they've added to your POF. They're not giving you money to pay your rent. They're not giving you money for groceries. No.
Yeah.
A credit card is not free money.
Okay. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you hammered on that.
Yeah.
You mentioned payment date and statement dates. For a long time, I struggled. Even me, I have struggled a lot to even understand when should I pay back, when should I not pay back. Is it payment dates? Is it statement dates? So please throw light on that.
Guess what? I struggled too.
I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad anymore.
I struggled, so I still calculate it. So when you're given a credit card, you're given a credit card and it comes today. Today is the 5th of January. So you get your credit card today. Usually your statement date will be from the day you get your credit card. The day you start using your credit card. So I'm going to assume that you got your credit card today and you start using your credit card today. Today's the 5th. So your statement date will be the same day every month. So today's the 5th of January. Your statement dates will be the 5th of February, the 5th of March, the 5th of April, like that every
I have a question. So is it the day I start using the card or the day I got the card?
The day you start using the card, I'd say. So that's kind of, but usually it's not hard to know because on your banking app, it will tell you already.
Okay.
It will tell you already that this is your statement date. So your statement date is 5th of this month. Next month is also 5th of next month. Okay. So it goes in a cycle like that. Okay. Now, payment dates is the day that you have to pay what you have owed by. Minimum payment is the minimum payment you have to pay. So I'll break it down. Okay. So I use my credit card today. I used $200 on my $1,000 limit credit card. Okay. Usually a credit card will give you 20-day grace period, interest free. So if I use $200 today, I have 20 days that $200 is free for me to pay back without paying an interest. Okay. If I exceed the 20 days, I begin to pay interest. Now the interest on credit card usually is 19.99 for purchases. So when you go to Walmart to swipe your card, when you go to Costco, when you go to any store is 19.99. Cash advances is when you go to the ATM with your card to get money out. Now, when you get money out, you actually pay a fee. I think it's 3% of whatever you get. I'm not sure. I don't think I've ever done that, but I know.
I don't have that lever.
Yeah, some people do. I mean, it's not a bad thing in that sense. I mean, there are some times that you just need to bridge the gap. Life happens, right?
Yeah.
So you apart from the fact that the interest rate is a bit higher for cash advances, you get paid. You get to pay a charge. I think it's called cash advance fee or something. Yeah. So I think it's 3% of. So if it's $200, it's 3% of. So please don't make me do the math. I beg you. So with 3% of whatever you get at the ATM as cash. Okay. So we've talked about the amount. So for 20 days, you get to hold that $200 free without paying an interest rate.
Okay.
After 20 days, your interest rate start. Now 19.99% is per annum. So it's per year. It's not per month. It's not per day. But it's prorated. So at the next statement date, you see that the interest was capitalized if you didn't pay that $200. Now you see minimum payments as well. Now there's a trick. There's a way I get to know, because sometimes you just keep purchasing, you don't know which one you have the 20 days on or which one you don't have the 20 days on. Yeah. So you do $200 today. You do so yeah. The simple way to know whether you are paying interest or not, I'll tell you, Sherry, you're going to pay me for this.
You told me we spoke. You told me, so I still remember.
Now, if your minimum payment is $10, you are likely not paying interest yet. Sugar, if you say your minimum payment
is more than
$15,
you're already paying interest.
$20. In fact, I've seen in my lifetime someone's minimum payment that is up to $415. Yes. So that she has started paying serious interest.
Wow, that's a lot.
So when you see that your minimum payment is already more than $10, my dear brothers and sisters, you have started paying interest. And those interests, honestly, you don't know. It's those interests that make it very difficult for people that are in debt to pay up their credit card, because you just realize that it's just growing. Yeah. It's as if you're just pouring water on plants and it's just growing. It's very, very hard. So most people that have problem paying up their credit card will have to eventually consolidate and get loans that will put them in a fixed position to, okay, we are going to be paying this every month. And I won't go into that. That's high level. So there's 19.99 for purchases and then 22.9 for cash. However, there are some credit cards that are cheaper. So I know that. So when I was working in my former bank, I realized that they have some cards that are cheaper. There's some cards that are 12.99. Yeah. But you get to pay a yearly fee for those cards. But I know that those cards are actually cheaper, but you get to pay maybe a yearly fee of $50 or something.
$100.
Yeah, exactly. But some banks have those cards that you pay less percentage on, but you have to pay a yearly fee.
Which brings me to the fact that you have to be very careful. Sometimes cheap is not cheap. Less is not less. You have to know what if you say you are getting a lower percentage here, you don't know what you are paying. Yeah. So this bank. So I think from what I understand, it's all sales gimmicks. A lot of things. You have to be very careful, knowledgeable. In choosing what you want to choose. Okay.
Having said that, also there are also banks, actually departmental stores. Okay. Their interest rates are usually higher. So when I mean departmental store, I don't mean the Walmart credit card or the Costco credit card. I'm talking about when you go and shop in a Leon's or a Brick and they tell you, there's flexibility to pay off all these things. Those cards are actually 30%, 33% for the credit cards. Because they give you I think they give you a do not pay period. But the moment you pass that do not pay period, I realize that those interest rates are actually killer interest rates. Yes, they are a lot.
That's a lot. 30%, not like 1/3 of the money.
Honestly, that's a lot. Yeah.
Thank you for that. So let's go to the importance of credit card. If I don't want credit card, why should I not get credit card? If I'm getting, what am I getting in return? So why should I get it? What's the importance of credit card?
By all means, like I said, when you approach your banker to open your account, they will usually offer it to you. By all means, get a credit card, and I'll tell you why. This is the reason why I said so. Like I said, this Canadian economy is credit based. You don't do anything without. In fact, you want to connect to your power, your water, utility, you will need a credit score.
Yeah.
That is the first very important reason why you should get a credit card. You must get a credit, and you must use it, because if you don't use it, it's kind of, in fact, some banks, when they realize that you're not using credit, they take it off.
Really?
Yes. I know that I've had to close some credit cards or close some lines of credit because clients were not using.
They give like notices or say you're not using your card or don't use
Yes.
it.
There was a credit card I got last year. I just got it because I thought I just needed to get that. It was a lifestyle credit card, but I never used it. And they sent me a letter in the mail and say, we've closed your credit card because you didn't use it. So sometimes they don't notify you, sometimes they do.
Okay.
They're nice enough to, but they're not obligated to.
Okay.
Yeah. All those things are in the fine print, in the inside, all those
that we
terms and conditions that we hardly read.
Yeah. Okay.
So get a credit card because of credit score. Why is credit score important? Because you want to, is a credit society. You want to connect your water bill. Even to get a phone, you will need a good credit score. Some rental agencies that rent apartments.
Yeah,
if you don't have a good credit score, they won't give you some employers too.
Really?
But yes. If you don't have a good credit score, you won't get a job. Yes.
Really?
For bankers, it is very important for you to have a credit score.
Never heard that before.
Yes.
Never.
Some employers won't employ you. They will do a credit check before they'll give them. Yes. Wow. Take that from me for free. Some employers won't employ you if you don't have a good credit score. So it's also very important to have a credit card and use properly. Of course, for newcomers to Canada, there's always an exception that is given to them that, because you're new, you probably don't have a credit history. So I remember when I was to get my first mortgage, Sherry, these guys went as far as telling me to get a credit report from Nigeria. Yes, because I didn't have, we're way less than 1 year when we applied for. And they wanted to be sure that
you could afford it.
I could have, apart from that, I had the good credit character to pay.
So it's not about affording it right there. It's about continuing.
There are 5 C's of credits. Yeah. I won't go into all that. Okay. So character is one of them, and they want to make sure.
Just say it briefly. You didn't really say it. Just say it's 5 C's of.
There are 5. Okay, there's capacity. There's character. There's collateral. There is I said collateral. I said capacity. I said character.
Yeah.
There's credits. And there is, that's 4. I can always come back to you later.
I remember. At least we have 4.
So of course, character is one of them, and that's why credit score is very important. Because some people are not. I've seen people on my desk that are not making payments, not because they can't afford it, but because they don't just have the character. They don't just have the. It's not saying they don't have the capacity. Discipline. They don't have the discipline to pay back. They are not organized in that sense. They
don't have it. Like you have to be. You have to remember. You have to put it in maybe your calendar or reminders to be. If not, you miss a payment, and that can put you in trouble. Yeah. Get to that.
Yeah. So those are very those are some of the reasons why you want a credit card and you want to boost your credit score. Now, one of the very, very important reasons that I think most people know will be to get a mortgage. So I know that a few of us that are very buoyant and can drop $800,000 to buy a home already, or can drop $300,000. But most of us can only afford a down payment, and then we'll have to get a mortgage. If you don't have a good credit score, you're not going to get a mortgage. So that is one of the reasons why, when I have younger clients like 19 and they get a credit card, that's the first time I say, I know you want to buy a home soon. This is the reason why. You should discipline yourself. You don't spend what you don't have. If you spend 200, make sure you're paying it back within 20 days so that you don't incur unnecessary interest.
Don't spend what you don't have.
Don't spend what you don't have. Yeah.
That will bring me to a question about, so what is a good credit score? What is a bad credit score? How do you know that you're building your credit score? How do you know you are not? How do you know that you're making it depreciate? So what are the things you have to do, like tips and tricks to make yourself
your credit
score?
Okay, that's a very good question actually. Credit score. While I like to look at the numbers, I don't like to look at the numbers because sometimes when you come out to Canada, you have a credit score of 650, of 690, which is not great. It's good, but it is not as a result of the fact that you are not using your credit card well. It's as a result of the fact that you have not had a credit for a very long time in Canada. So the things that make your credit score good: length of time of having a credit, your credit utilization. Now this is getting deeper into the discussion. Your credit utilization versus credit limits. I'll touch on that very briefly. And then what else makes for a good score? Whether you've had a late payment or not. Okay. And I will bring it back home. So now Sherifat has a credit card for $2,000 limit, and she has had it for 1 year. You're not going to have a great credit score because you have not. I think the time, if I remember very, very well from my trainings back then, at least 2 years to give you a very good, to get you to an excellent credit score because of time of having credit. Now I talked about credit utilization and credit limits. Now Sherifat has $2,000 credit card as limit, and Sherifat uses $2,000 as she has spent $2,000, even though she's making her payments. Hello, you're not going to have a good credit score. I know it's crazy. I mean, the first question I asked when my coach told me this, I'm like, so why are you giving me a credit limit if I cannot use it even though I'm paying? I don't have an answer to that question still. He didn't have an answer to that question. But they're just trying. I think the only answer, or the only reasonable thing I can say to that is they want to be sure you're not dependent on credit. So yes, they want to give you credit, but they don't want to be dependent, because if you're dependent on credit, if that credit fails you, you're not going to be able to repay. It puts the bank in a bad light. It becomes a bad debt. You understand? It becomes written off. You know, the client can go as far as filing bankruptcy, which of course is against the bank. So what is the acceptable utilization? I'll help you ask the question. Yeah. I'll say 30%. So Sherifat has $2,000 and she's using, what's 30% of $2,000?
About 650 something. 650.
At every statement date, your
666.
Your payment due. Now payment due is different from minimum payment. Your payment due is not more than 650, 700. That is how to do your utilization against your credit score. Now, we are looking at the credit score. A credit score brings all your revolving credits together. Now, what is revolving credits? When you have a line of credit cards. So all your limits together. So you can have a Walmart credit card, HSBC credit card, a Flexity credit card, have Walmart credit card. How about those credit cards together? They add all the limits together and add on utilization. So you may have a Walmart card, $2,000, you've used $2,000. You have a BMO credit card, you have $5,000, but you've not used $5,000. So your limit is actually $7,000 and your installation is $2,000. So those are the things that help for your credit score. Time on credits, your credit utilization versus your limits, and the fact that you're making your payments on time. Now, other things that account for your credit score that are not credit card, of course, your other loans, your car loan, your rents. You'll be shocked that some people do not pay their rents and they report them on the credit. The most common that I've seen that account for bad credits, you'll be shocked, will be your phone bills. So all those phone bills that you say, oh, you forgot to pay, those things actually go as a derogatory against your credit score.
Once they report it to collections.
Once they report it to, well, so it doesn't go to collections immediately, but for the fact that they reported that there's a late payment. So there's a 30 days late, 60 days late, 90 days late. When it begins to get to 90 days late, there's already a problem. Okay. So those are the things that account for
so when they report you once, it affects it. But when it exceeds like 30, 60, it worse.
So there's like R1, R2. There's these codes that the credit score gives those reporting. The best thing,
just don't miss it.
Don't miss your payments. Even though I don't think 30 days is as bad, because I've seen some 30 days that I still was able to grant credit to. But the best thing, you know what? Just make your payments. Do automatic payments. Set up payments from your checking accounts to your whatever credit you're doing.
That way you don't forget.
That way you don't forget. Because really we are human, and this is a very fast-paced environment. Yes. Before you know it, life catches up with you. Yes. To me, I feel Canada is even 12 hours. It's not 24 hours.
I feel the same way.
It goes very fast. I only just woke up and it's already 12.
I feel the same way. Yeah. So thank you for that. So let me just summarize it, just be sure that I understand and people understand as well. So if I have a credit card of 2K, and my payment date is today. Yes. And I finish using that and I pay that money today, it still will affect me, even though I'm paying everything at the due date.
Simply put, if your online banking or your whatever can catch it that your payment due, so there's payment due, your payment due is 2,000, is already affecting your utilization. However, those things can be corrected the next month when you adjust. So there's a way it works. I mean,
so what I get here is do not exceed 30% of your
do not
credits.
exceed. So I have a 5,000 credit card and I go and spend 4,500 today, and tomorrow I pay back the 4,500. I'll be fine because it's not captured. It's not going to be captured yet in my profile that I've used up because I paid back almost immediately. However, if you leave it to linger for a very long time and it captures, it will show as payment. Because really, there's sometimes that you don't have a choice than to use up. But rule of thumb, leave it at 30%.
Something I heard yesterday, I thought I wanted to ask you. So one insurance person told a friend of mine that if they report insurance premium, that she misses it, that will affect her getting insurance elsewhere. That once she misses a payment for insurance, that it will affect her getting insurance. It may make her have a higher premium. You know, I haven't heard that before.
Well, I've not heard it before, but I can make sense of it. That's because some of these insurance guys, when you go for a quote or something, some of them may run your credit, run credit checks on you. So if you're not paying your premium, obviously they want to also guard against that. And insurance here, once you even make a claim, your premium goes up already. So I can make sense. I've never heard of that really, but I can make sense of it. Okay. It's a possibility.
Okay. And then collections. I heard somebody who had, I think Kudo reports is that he missed the payments. Kudo is a telephone carrier. So, and he affected his credit score for like a year or two. So I don't know how it works. So even if you make the payment, do they remove it or it stays for a particular number of period of time before you're able to get back on track?
That's a very good question. So on my desk, when I see things like this, those telecom, they are very notorious for doing that.
Yeah.
Once they report you, and the bad thing about reporting you is that thing stays on your credit report for 7 years. Actually.
Can you imagine? Yeah, that's
so yeah. Even though you've made a payment, so I've had clients that, oh no, but I paid it as soon as it was brought to my notice, I paid, but the stain is on your credit score. So the good thing about it is, as long as I see it so of course when I'm doing a credit, whatever kind of credit for a client, when I go to the credit report to see all the things I've counted against the client. Now, if I see things like that, I'll say, oh yeah, they have an R3 here. What happened? He's able to explain. I can make a case for him. But I mean, you don't want to have to go through that. So again, just make your payments.
And these are like very small amounts.
Yeah.
$40, 40.
In fact, I've seen 70 cents. These guys are crazy. So I've seen $40. Yes.
I want that affecting you for years. And some lenders are very I'm like, what's the word? Not nice. They'll use that against you.
You can't get the credit. Payment. That's correct.
So you don't want that to happen to you, okay?
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about investment. Talk about credit. Let's digress. And talk about investments. For me, yes, it's a credit system, but how do we make money? How do we stay afloat? How do we, be big boys and big girls in this society?
Okay. Okay, so talking about investment, I'm going to touch on only 2 kind of registered investments.
Okay.
I won't go into in depth. I'll talk about the TFSA and the RSP.
And what do they mean? What's the full meaning of TFSA and RSP? For those that don't know.
Okay. TFSA is an acronym for tax-free savings account.
Okay.
RSP is an acronym for registered savings plan. What is a TFSA? A TFSA is a registered investment vehicle that the government put in place for you to save and not pay taxes on whatever interest you make on those savings. For everyone has a contribution limit. So your contribution limit starts from the year you had a status in Canada.
Like students?
Like work permits.
Students allowed?
So students will have work permits, so yes.
Okay, yeah.
So work permit holders and PR holders, citizens. For citizens that were born here, it starts from when you attain the age of majority, when you become 18. For immigrants is the year you became PR. So I came in 2018. I have a contribution limit from 2018 until I die. Now, contribution limit is set by the federal government.
Okay.
Nobody has a control over that. So like last year, contribution limit was 6,000. This year, contribution limit is 6,500. 2020 it was 6,000.
And it's across board, right?
And it's across board. Nobody has a monopoly of a higher
TFSA,
a higher limit in a year. However, an older person will obviously have higher limits if they've not used up.
Because it's accumulating.
Now, a TFSA, for some of us that have not tapped into this, you're able to catch up on the previous year. So, yes, so if you didn't contribute in 2018, in 2019, 2020, you're able to accumulate all those and contribute. So you're actually saving already taxed money. So whatever growth you make within whatever kind of investment vehicle you choose to invest that TFSA in is tax-free. You know the way you have to pay interest on even your savings accounts, even the 7 cents you make on your savings account, you have to pay taxes, interest income on that. But for TFSA, whatever you make, so some people go very aggressive on their TFSA. They do mutual fund, yeah. They go very aggressive such that whatever gain they make is interest free, is like free money. It's all yours. On the other hand, RSP. So RSP has to do with your employment and whatever you make. So for everyone, you're allowed 18% of your annual income as your limit for a year. So 18% of your annual income up to, I think, 22,000 in a year. And of course, that also accumulates. So if you didn't pay last year, you're able to catch up on last year's payments. Now, what does this do? Sherry earns 20,000 in a year, and she contributes 5,000 to her RSP in that year. At the end of the year, remember that Sherry's employer has taken the full taxes for 20,000, but she has also made 5,000 contribution to her RSP. In the eyes of the government, Sherry's income will now be 15,000. That will be 20,000 less the $5,000 she has made as a contribution to her RSP. So it is like a tax deferral vehicle. So when Sherry now files her taxes, she's giving the taxes that she has paid on that 5,000 back as what do you call that money you get back?
Tax return?
As a tax refund when she files her taxes. Now, is that free money for Sherry?
No.
Well, you can say yes. But you see, the day that Sherry withdraws that $5,000, in the next year, our income of 20,000 will increase to 25,000.
Yeah.
And then she will be taxed at a marginal tax rate on that 5,000. Registered retirement savings plan. So the main reason the government puts RSP in place is for when you retire. And I'll tell you why. Because right now we are vibrant, we're in our active working years, we're probably doing everything to make all the money. So our taxes are actually higher. However, when we retire, we're not actively working like we are right now. So we are intended to be in a small, I said intended because there's some people that their pension, like people that work in government, they actually have very high pension. You're intended to be in a lower tax bracket, such that when Sherry now wants to withdraw that fund when she retires, now let's say her tax is like 40%. When she retires, her tax is like 20%. Instead of paying 30% now, she's going to pay 20% as taxes when she retires. So that's the reason. So my honest advice will be, if you have an RSP, leave it for retirement. There's also an advantage to RSP. I'll just touch on that very, very briefly. There's something called the first-time home buyers plan. You can actually borrow tax-free from your RSP to buy a home. I'm not going to go into that. That's very broad, very high level. Yeah. But yeah, TFSA, you are contributing already tax money. RSP is like a tax deferral vehicle.
Yeah, that's why honestly, that's why I'm not like a fan of RSP. I'd rather know I'm saving for retirement.
But I'm a fan.
I'm not a fan, no, because once you get that money,
I'll make you a fan.
Like in my previous place of work, we have like bonus. So once we get that bonus, they'll be telling you, do you want to put the money in RSP or take cash? Because once you take cash, they will add that money to your income and they'll give you killer tax. But when the money is in here, so people always like, say, oh, put it in my RSP. But when they are withdrawing the money later, they will still be taxed.
But do you know that, to what you have said, whether you take it as RSP or you take it as cash, it's still part of your income.
Oh, really?
Yes, it is still part of your income, but you are not paying taxes on that right now. But it's still part of your income. So yes, it's part of your income, but that portion is not taxable.
Just to add to what you said about first-time home buyers plan. Also, I know about lifelong learning.
So yeah, for people that want to go back to school,
study, so you can use that money to
tax-free as well to finance.
Just like you can buy a house, you can finance. So that's why I'm a fan of RSP. That's the only two reasons.
No, but the reason why I'll say I'm a fan of RSP because you can also invest. So there are 3 kind of investments, or maybe 4, maybe several. But I'm not going to touch on 3. There are 3 kind of investments that you can use your RSP or TFSA for. You can put in a savings account that is not bearing anything. That is when it's not necessary for you to have done it in the first place. In fact, you're going to be losing money because the time value of money, $1,000 in 2018 is definitely $1,000 now, from what we've seen from inflation.
Yeah.
So, if you live in a savings account, it probably doesn't make sense. You can put in a GIC. A GIC will make a little bit of sense, but you're not making so much money. How much you're going to make money to beat whatever inflation we have right now with a GIC? However, a mutual fund is risky. Your money is not guaranteed, but you are able to so I mean, whatever growth you earn, you can add that to your pension as a reef. That's also high level. Yeah. You can turn it into a reef, and it helps your taxes anyways. Do you understand? Especially for those that are still getting child benefits. In the eyes of the government, when you contribute, so your income is 20,000. You've contributed 5,000 to RSP. Your income is not 15. Remember, child benefits rolls on your income. So the lower your income, the higher your child benefits. So that's why I said there's a lot of sides and a lot of ways to look at this thing. You can't just look at RSP and say you're not a fan when you've not gone.
That's why I say I need education.
Yeah.
I need
so
education. Like,
please visit your financial advisor. Some financial advisors are very good. They will break it down to you. I know when I have people in my office, I try to, because they come, I don't want anything, and I end up, educating them, and they understand, and there's some people that want advice, of course, to do an RSP. But by all means, TFSA, yes.
Yeah, so
when you have extra funds.
To the question is, so if you're to recommend, I know if I can ask you this, if you're to recommend between TFSA and RSP, what would you be like for investment purpose? What would you be, or like, what would you suggest? It will be where, number one answer won't fit everyone. Okay.
So I mean, I can't give an answer out. I can say something today, I might go at the top. Sorry. On a lighter note. Yeah. But one answer doesn't fit everybody. For you, I'll look at everything. I'll look at your goals. I'll look at your time at life. I'll look at what is important to you before I can make a recommendation. So it depends on where you are at life.
I see.
Before I can see.
And one more, the last question, because we've spent a lot of time. Thank you so much. The last question. So you mentioned the RSP is like an retirement plan. What about RPP, the registered pensions plan? So what's the difference between? I know there's a difference, but like just explain, please.
RSP is the one you contribute yourself, or the one some companies have RSP that they contribute and then their employer matches, and then you also have pension. It's the pension part that is RPP. So RPP is registered pension plan. That's for your pension. So you've worked here and you've worked here for a number of years. They're giving you a pension. So that pension is different from RSP. So RSP is the retirement savings, whatever. Of course, RSP have different. You have the locked-in RSP.
The non-locked-in.
Different kinds. RPP is pension. RSP is retirement savings plan. But of course, they are all retirement.
You mentioned earlier that RSP, that you must be in employment. Like, so can you go and open an RSP, personal RSP, or it has to be through employment? No.
So RSP rides on your income. For you to have an income, you must have done some kind of work. That's what I mean. Okay. So it's not you can't just wake up in the morning as a student that you don't have an income. You won't have a limit.
Okay. Like is it 80% of your
income? So it rides on your income.
Okay, makes sense. I think we have touched base on a lot of things. Time is fast spent. I really, really appreciate this. Thank you so much for
the player.
I hope you learned something too. I just thought it's a new year. Let's start the new year on a good note. Credit score, how to make my money and all of that. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. And if you have your contribution, any impulse questions, please drop them in the comment section. I appreciate that. Thank you. Bye. Take care. Oh, share for me.